Okay, let us continue with this. I'll work on a wild last boss tomorrow, most likely. Gossip, 3 heroes, ominous footsteps. Kanan, Ryo, and I, along with the 3 knights accompanying us, continued to dive into the dungeon in order to level up, and in the end we managed to reach the 25th level. Hang on. Just want to make sure I was recording. Yep, I am. Alright. Yeah, the 25th floor. I'm assuming that's a dungeon in their own kingdom. After getting to the level where we could beat an ogre one-on-one, we gave the dungeon a rest for a while and tried actually defeating monsters out in the wild. According to the 3 knights, monsters outside were much different from monsters in the dungeon, so it would be better to get some experience fighting outside as well. The dungeon was fun because it was like a game, but I wanted to try fighting monsters outside anyway, so I couldn't ask for anything better. At this point, my stats were like so. Name, Kaito Saito, age 17, job hero from another world, level 10, so they gained 10 more levels. I think they got to level, they got to floor 10 or something like that last time, if I remember correctly. Okay. HP 1010, MP 978, attack 988, defense 961, agility 953, skills, appraisal, item box, holy sword arts, fire magic, water magic, earth magic, wind magic, light magic, lightning magic, ice magic. I leveled up steadily and was now at level 10. My HP even passed 1000. I had heard that one must first rate if any of their stats passed 1000, so I think I'm growing pretty well. For now, I was the only one with a stat above 1000, but Kanan and Ryo had similar stats, so they would pass 1000 soon. However, the more we level up, the more we feel the difficulty in leveling up further. Even so, reaching this level after only a single month was probably because we were heroes. Having everyone praise us saying, "Of course you're the hero," was both embarrassing and a happy thing. Tomorrow we would finally be going outside to fight monsters. The request we'd taken from the Adventurers Guild was to destroy a nest of kobolds. This was a request available to those C rank and above. The knights were all C ranks, so we were able to take it, since we were partied up with them. Our adventurer ranks were still at D, but the knights assured us that our actual fighting ability was higher. I want to show Louise my good side too. Destroy the kobolds. Destroy the kobolds, huh? Leave it to me. We had come to a forest south of the capital. Kobolds had a good sense of smell, so there was a chance we'd be found based on our scent. While taking note of the direction of the wind, we approached the nest and took a look. There are 2 keeping watch outside the cave, just as we expected. Now then, let's proceed according to plan. After finishing off these 2, throw fire magic inside and thin their numbers. After that, kill the kobolds as they escape the cave. Understood? Leonard explained the plan in a low voice, and everyone nodded their assent. First, Louise and I will finish off the lookouts. After that, we'll be counting on you for the fire magic, Kaito, Kanan, Ryo, said Aaron. We nodded in response. After seeing that, Aaron and Louise started moving. Taking care not to be noticed, they stood up behind the 2 lookouts and... When Aaron stood up and swung his sword, the kobold's head rolled onto the ground. Right after their bodies followed suit. The kobold that Louise approached from behind was pierced through the heart by her blade and died without uttering a sound. Every time I witnessed their swordplay, I was amazed. Leonard, who was commanding this mission, was also amazing in his swordplay, though. Since I'd only started training in the sword after I came here, my skills with it still weren't great, but I hope to one day get as good as they were. I mean, yeah, they've got plenty of experience. I'll have to try hard to get as close as I can to these 3. Oh, I can think about these things later. After confirming that the 2 lookouts were taken care of, Kanan, Ryo, and I quickly moved in front of the cave, and then the rest 3 of us shot our fire magic into the opening. I swear... Is it normal for them to have to do the incantation, or is that the reason why... I think I asked this last time, but is this the reason that Makoto wasn't able to do his fire magic very well at first, because he wasn't using the correct incantation or something? Or, I don't know. Blazing ball of fire, burn mine enemies to nothing, fireball. Raging arrow of fire, pierce through mine enemies, fire arrow. Kanan and Ryo cast a fireball while I cast a fire arrow. Our fire magic flew into the rear of the cave and exploded with a loud boom. The fire is going to burst out. You guys move to the side of the cave. At Aaron's words, we reflexively jumped to the side. Whoa. Right after we jumped to the side, a large amount of fire rushed through the entrance where we were, along with a low sound. It sounded like our fire magic was too strong. We stood back up once the fire calmed down. Was it too strong? Looks like. Yeah. Taking a peek inside the cave, the walls were burnt black, and there was no sign of any living kobolds. Leonard, Aaron, and Louise also joined us in checking the cave. Looks like we can count this request finished. Yes, there's no way any of them survived. Fire magic that strong. You're right, I can't feel anything living. We can probably count this nest destroyed, said the three of them. The three of you did well. We finished decimating the kobold nest. With that report from Leonard, Kanan and Rio went, yay, celebrating together. Well, we're heroes, at least in title. This should probably be normal, I said, trying to look cool, but inside I was super happy. Thinking that I could fight just as well with monsters on the outside, I gained a little confidence. Nice, let's keep winning. The next day, while everyone was heading for the Adventurers Guild for take another quest, I noticed a bracelet peeking out of Rio's sleeve that she didn't have yesterday. What's up with that, Rio? I asked, glancing at the bracelet. Rio laughed happily in response. Huh? What's going on? I'm super interested. Kanan must have noticed for the first time too and joined in. Oh no, this is going to be so stupid. To tell you the truth, I got it from Leonard, Rio said happily through blushing cheeks. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, how nice, I'm jealous. You'll be fine. Aaron's looking your way all the time, Kanan. He'll definitely likes you. I wonder. Somehow it turned into love gossip between the two of them. I have a very bad feeling. I really hope that that's the case, that it's actually a good thing and not a bad thing. I really hope not. I see. From Leonard, huh? Nice job, Leonard. Not only that, Rio even started calling him Leonard when before it was Mr. Leonard. God damn it, I'll do my best too. I wonder if it's got to be an accessory for women after all. I'll take that into consideration. Taking a look at the bracelet Rio was wearing, I noticed it was silver, around 1 centimeter in width, and densely decorated with a pattern that looked like a magic circle in gold. Ooh, I don't like that. In the center, there was a clear purple crystal set on it. That's pretty nice. I'm assuming that's either, if it's a good thing, it's just a regular bracelet. If it's a bad thing, I'm going to assume that it's a magic bracelet that'll keep the wearer under the person's control that gave it to them or something. Or maybe it's to keep them in the kingdom, I don't know. I'm really hoping it's not a bad thing, but I can't help but be suspicious. After asking Rio about it, it seemed that it was a type of magic item that slightly raised her physical abilities. I mean, you could use your appraisal ability on it and check. Leonard said that he was worried about me since I had less stamina than you two, and he gave this to me, said Rio happily. I see, so there's accessories like this too. I bet it's super expensive. He sure loves Rio. No, I don't think so. Oh no, I have a bad feeling about this, that I'm right. No! Leonard, did you manage to hand that thing over properly? Of course, when I told her it was a magic tool to raise her physical ability, she happily took it. You could probably whispered something sweet to her as you put it on, didn't you? I won't deny it, but aren't you the same? Well, yeah, they have the appraisal skill after all. There's no way we could just hand them over at the same time. It'll cause suspicion. I'll give it a little time and give it to her when the time is right. No, I knew it! There's something wrong with it. That's what I was saying. You should have appraised it to make sure, because it could have had some hidden trap or something on it. No, why didn't you do that? I would have been immediately suspicious. At the very least, just to find out, if it had any extra abilities or anything like that, that I would need to know about, because it was going on my body. Don't be so trusting. Oh, no. Of course, I'll whisper sweet nothings to her as I slip that bracelet on, and with that, they won't suspect a thing. You're a bad guy too, huh? Stop with the slander. You're in the same boat, aren't you? You guys sure are lucky since you're dealing with women. It's not suspicious at all for a man to give a woman an accessory. Meanwhile, I'm over here with no idea how to give this thing to Kaito. I knew it. They're all have to something. I knew it. This has got to be something bad. Well, you just have to seduce him and slam the thing on, right? No matter what he says, he's pretty head over heels for you, He's right. You just have to prove your skills at this point. I know already. As long as we can get those Knew it! Knew it. Get these dominance bracelets. I knew it! Knew something was up here! I knew these guys were up to no good! I knew something was up! On the heroes, it's basically as if our mission is already over. Once it's done, I'm basically guaranteed a promotion, so of course I'll do it. So essentially, these are kind of controlling bracelets. Where essentially, they put them on them, and once it's on them, essentially, you're screwed. And you have to do essentially whoever is supposed to, I guess, be the master of the bracelet or something like that, which I'm assuming is the king. and you gotta do what they say no matter what. And if you don't, it probably hurt you. Why? They've got to get out of there. If only Makoto could get them out. Chapter 5, The Invincible Trio. We were in front of the boss room on the 25th floor. When I peeked inside, the room is bigger again. There's also more monsters. I can tell from their presence, yes. 1, 2, 3... Huh? There's 10 Spriggans in there. I am willing to bet that the reason that there's so many monsters as you go further along is not just because it gets harder, but because it's taking into account the strength of the people that are in the area. So considering how strong Fel and the others are, I can understand it being that way if that's the case. Because I don't know. It's the only explanation, because they said the information was off. Following the Spriggans, who were a size bigger with my eyes, I counted at least 10 of them. There were actually so many giant steps into this room, I was actually almost amazed at it, how did you do that? Does that mean they just pulled out all the stops for the last floor of the giant zone? This dungeon really is just the worst. No matter how many there are still nothing to me. Right. Actually, just about this much is nice. It feels like we're actually fighting. Sui's gonna beat a lot. Whole lot again. Yep, looks like even this many giants aren't a match for my children here. Children. He says children. Now then, it's time. Let's go. Yay! With Fel's words as a signal, all 3 of my familiars spread out into the room that was full to bursting with giants. I'm not sure if they're all just fearless or what. Everyone's actually really strong, though it's like they just don't have any sense of tension, even though we're in a dungeon and all. Well, it's not like making a note of this now will do anything. Everyone's just beating down the giants left and right, aren't they? Now then, I guess I should get in there too. I'm a little late though. I quietly slipped into the 25th floor's boss room. Apparently, I was noticed as once again a troll was coming at me. Isn't it a little faster than that troll on the 24th floor? While belting out a war cry, it swung both its fists at me. It must have been a little faster than the troll on the 24th floor, but I can still dodge something like this. Ha! Dodging the troll's arm, I cut into its flank. My mithril short sword with its excellent cutting edge cut open a large wound in the troll's side. Oof, the troll's guts were poking out of its wound. The troll that I gutted was swinging its arms in a frenzy as if trying to blow me away. He's extra mad. Oh, of course he's extra mad. Someone got me like that, I'd be pissed off too. Well, I'd technically be terrified, but if that case, I'd probably be pissed. And still, huge swings like that wouldn't hit me in a million years. I circled around to the troll's back while dodging its swings. Ha! I cut through the calves on both of the troll's feet. And the troll fell forward as if it was prostrating itself. I stabbed my mithril short sword deep around where its heart should have been. How's that? The troll twitched for a moment, then fell still. Yeah! Whoa. While I celebrated defeating the troll, I was pushed by something and fell on my butt. What was that? When I looked up, a minotaur was raising its axe. Whoa! I reflexively covered my head in my arms and closed my eyes. Will perfect defense really cover this? I didn't get Fel to put a barrier over me since I felt confident of that last battle, and I still had the perfect defense skill. Please work, please. And the minotaur swung its axe and I wasn't hurt at all. Oh? Timidly moving my arms, I opened my eyes. The minotaur was swinging its axe at my head over and over with a wrathful expression on its face. Clang, clang, clang. However, I wasn't taking any damage at all. I did feel like I was being pushed a little from somewhere over the top of my head, but other than that, I was fine. So the reason I was pushed on my butt onto my butt in the first place was because of that axe, wasn't it? Clang, clang, clang. Hey, I know I'm not taking any damage, but aren't you attacking me a bit too much? I thrust my mithril short sword at the minotaur's heart. And bye-bye. The minotaur, having been pierced through the heart, fell backward. Yes, I did it! I picked up the drops from the troll and minotaur that I defeated, a poison claw and a horn. So you learned how to fight a little, huh? Fel said, coming closer to me. Well, a little bit. I'm still not used to fighting, but I can't just be leaving it all up to you guys all the time. Master, Sui picked up some stuff. Oh, looks like Sui decided to help. Since there was no other drops on the floor, it seemed like Sui got all of it. Oh, you got all of it, didn't you? Thanks, Sui. Receiving the drops from Sui, I stored them in my item box. When I petted Sui as a reward, it started hopping around happily. Hey, there's a huge treasure chest in the back there. Dora-chan said through telepathy while flying. A treasure chest? Let's go! We were led by Dora-chan towards the location of the treasure chest. It looks like just like Dora-chan said. This one's bigger than all the ones before. The treasure chest was about 1 meter across and 50 centimeters tall. I was hit with the desire to just open it, but I resisted and appraised it instead. Treasure chest. A treasure chest designed to release a fireball when opened, as well as poison gas right after that. Both a fireball and poison gas? What the hell is this war crime? I kind of expected this what with its size and all though, but even if you dodge the fireball, there's poison gas? Anyone other than me with my perfect defense and blasting effects would die. Totally die. The trap on this chest sure is nasty. You appraised it too, Fel? It's both a fireball and a poison gas after all. Anyone without blessings like us would just die, wouldn't they? Yeah, it's probably possible to dodge the 3 fireballs, but unless you have something really powerful to counter with that instant death gas, it's probably impossible. What? Huh? 3 fireballs? And the gas has an instant death effect? Yeah, you probably could not see it because of the difference in levels. Yeah. He was able to at least see that it had fireball and poison gas. At least. I see. It's one of those things that you can only see with higher levels. You did say that you got quite the low exposition when you used appraisal, didn't you, Vel? Still, though, the nastiness of this thing just got worse with what I fell right on top of that. 3 whole fireballs and instant death gas. You've got no intention of ever letting go of your treasures, do you? But we're fine, though. And so, time to open it. Just like Fel's appraisal said, after opening the chest, it released 3 fireballs, and right afterwards, an ominous black poison gas was released into the surroundings with the sound of compressing air. Oh, that was awful. Of course, it didn't work on us. Peeking inside the treasure chest, there was a gold ingot and a gem, as well as a ring. Appraising the gem, I found that it was an imperial topaz. What an expensive-sounding name. As for the ring, this is what my appraisal said. Ring of Magic Recovery. A magic item that slightly speeds up the rate of magic power recovery. It's a magic item. Wondering exactly how much slightly meant, I had Fel appraise it, and apparently slightly meant by 1.2 times. This is great. Of course I used it myself. I put the ring on immediately, and as one might have expected out of a magic item, when I first thought it might have been too big, when I put it on, I found that it fit perfectly. Stuffing the gold ingot and the imperial topaz in my item box, we all proceeded to the 26th floor. Huh? What's that? What's this? The floor we stepped into was a densely growing forest. So I went with this, huh? This dungeon is quite amusing. No, Fel. This isn't amusing at all. I heard the dungeons might have floors like these, but isn't this way too sudden? I mean, up until now, it's been all tunnels and stone walls, right? You'd expect the next floor to be the same, right? And all of a sudden, a forest? Hey, get on. I am feeling a fairly strong presence. We are heading for it. Fel seemed like he was having fun. Hurry it up. Yeah. I gave in to Fel's prodding and got on his back. The first thing we encountered in this dense forest was a huge praying mantis that was over 2 meters tall. And their numbers counted in the teens. When I tried appraising them, giant killer mantis. A B-ranked monster. Huh? That's all? Well, it was just the monster's name before, so thinking like this is an improvement. What? These are just small fry. Right after Fel muttered that, lightning ran along the killer mantises with a snap and a crackle. The giant killer mantises' numbers in their teens were all instantly fried black and died. Fel, I think you just suddenly hit them with lightning. These giant killer mantises are just way too sad. Well, it was probably just their luck, I guess. Aw, Fel killed them all by himself. Unfair, Uncle Fel. Dora-chan and Sui were both complaining that Fel beat them all by himself. Small fry like that are not worth your time anyway. Let's find something stronger. You say that, but you're just going to try and fight it yourself. How unfair. And Sui wants to fight too. Sui will go pew-pew and use water magic to beat up a whole lot of them. But still, why does everyone like fighting so much? Your guys' blood is way too hot. Well, isn't it fine to just take turns here like before? Next will be Dora-chan, and after that, Sui can take a turn. When I said that, Dora-chan and Sui reluctantly accepted. Oh, fine. But I'm next, okay? If Master says so, then Sui will do that because Sui is good. After that, I retrieved the giant killer mantis's drops, and we continued on through the forest. By the way, their drops were small magic stones and giant killer mantis scythes. Steadily making headway through the forest, the next thing we encountered was a murder grizzly. But isn't this bigger than the one Fel killed? When I asked Fel, I was told that those born in the dungeon can be stronger and bigger than those outside. Apparently, the density of magic had something to do with it. And the murder grizzly had set us in its sights and ran toward us while shaking its huge body. Yahoo! let's go! Dora-chan, clad in fire, peters through the murder grizzly's side with incredible speed. So fast. Picking up the murder grizzly's pelt that was dropped, we proceeded further into the forest. That was quick on the course. Dora-chan's work made of speed. The next thing that came out was a paralyzed butterfly. It was a B-ranked monster, a butterfly around 1 meter in length, with a sinister orange and blue polka dot pattern. Apparently they moved around in packs, and the one we encountered consisted of around 30 of them. We were seeing it for the first time, so I asked Fel about it, and seeing that after paralyzing their prey by spreading their poisonous scales, they sucked the fluids out of their prey while they still lived. While they're still alive. That's so brutal. I mean, technically, I think spiders do the same thing. They wrap up their prey in webs and end up sucking their liquids out while they're still alive, I think. I think spiders do the same thing. Now it's Sui's turn, so go get him. Sui, those bugs spread dust that makes you so you can't move if you get too close, so get them from far away, okay? Yeah, got it. Sui shot down the paralyzed butterflies one after the other with the long-range version of its acid bullet. The entire fight was finished within a minute. Master, Sui got all of them! Yeah, you're so awesome, Sui. When I complimented it, Sui started bouncing around happily. Sui's so cute. The slime was my only source of healing in this brutal dungeon. The paralyzed butterfly drops were some paralyzing poison scales, in a bottle for some reason. There was a lot of this dropped as well somehow. After picking them up, we proceeded further into the forest. After that, we saw a procession of beast, bird, and bug-type monsters that all seemed like they would belong in a forest, and we defeated them one after the other, collecting their drops while we proceeded along the floor. The idea of stopping in the middle for a meal was brought up, but hey, this floor doesn't have a safe area. When I got the idea and asked Fel to lead us to the safe area, it turned out there was none on this floor. Floors like this often do not have safe areas. According to Fel, floors with a forest or desert biome, if I remembered right, they were called field dungeons. More often than not, they didn't feature any safe areas. It was said that field dungeons were both extremely spacious and home to a lot of high-ranking monsters, so they were highly difficult areas. But the fact that they were no safe areas probably raised the difficulty even higher. The fact that there's no safe area means there's no place to rest and relax after all. Not only that, but since there are only high-ranking monsters up here, it's even more stressful. It's totally different from camping out in a normal forest. Well, do not be so worried. Everything will be fine with my barriers. That's true. Taking things up until now into account, unless there's something ridiculously strong, Fel's barriers will make things safe, probably. Then let's just eat here, Fel. I'm counting on you for that barrier. Yeah, I understand. Once Fel put up his barrier, I started preparing our meal. What should it be? Ah, right, let's go with that. The melt-in-your-mouth stewed pork I had it pre-made. Let's use that and make stewed pork bowls. Start off by slicing the pork thickly. Once that's done, mold the rice on a deep dish and layer the pork on top of the rice so that the rice is no longer visible. With that done, pour on a quick ladle full of stew. After that, garnish with a marinated soft-boiled egg that's been cut in half and the dish is complete. Here you go. All three of them dug in heartily. Ooh, this is great! The meat is soft enough to melt in my mouth. Also, this flavoring is pretty well done. It seemed like Fel liked the pork. So good! What is this meat? It's so soft it melts. Man, the stuff you make really is always amazing. It looked like Dora-chan was in favor too. This sweet and salty flavor is so good all soaked up onto this soft meat. Seemed like Sui liked it too. Sui does like this salty and sweet flavoring, doesn't it? Thank goodness it went over well. That means making this was worth it. Now then, I should eat too. For my share, I layered on the pork after also adding a bed of shredded cabbage, since doing so would make it much more refreshing. Now then, a bite. Oh, I probably shouldn't be saying this about something I made myself, but it's pretty damn good. The Orc General's meat had been stewed until it was almost melted, and the sweet and salty taste was properly soaked into the meat and paired well with it. The mix of rice, cabbage, and pork created the greatest flavor. Even I started to unconsciously eat with gusto. The marinated soft-boiled egg was also great with its soaked-in flavor. More. Fel and Sui asked for more. When I served them, they went to town once again. They had several more helpings after that, and by the time Fel and Sui were done, satisfied, the pork was all gone. I'd made quite a bit of it, too. Still, the stewed pork was quite well done this time. It might be worth it to make it again. After fitting in a post-meal rest and digestion, we once again set off through the forest. Fel, Dora-chan, and Sui took their turns mowing down the monsters we encountered. While I retrieved the huge amounts of drops, we decided to stop for the day once the forest became dark. So the dungeon gets dark and light too, huh? Indeed, on these types of floors, the day and night cycle follows the outside. Also, nocturnal monsters will start to show themselves at night. Really, Fel? Your barrier's still fine, right? Of course it is. Just as I have told you before, as long as a dragon does not come knocking, we are fine. Then I can rest easy, I think. No, wait. You say that, but there aren't any dragons here, are there? It would have been nice if there were. I do not feel anything as powerful as a dragon on this floor. No way, man. It's better that there aren't here. That way I can actually sleep. Still, though, this floor is huge. If this keeps going, it'll probably be impossible to see this entire floor. If we were to search this entire floor, even we would need about a month, I think. Huh? Really? Yes, it sounds interesting as well, but for now, we should hurry up to fight the behemoth. We are moving towards a more powerful presence that's probably the boss of this floor. With Dora and Sui here, we are making quite good progress, but it'll probably still take another 2 days. I did think that this floor was huge, but to think it would take more than a month. I didn't expect it to be that big. It'll probably be impossible to look around this floor for great treasure chests, won't it? Oh well, I guess I'll just give up. Yeah, probably best. But still, 2 days at our quick pace. Wait, what is the boss anyway? I'm more worried about that. For dinner today, I brought out hamburg steak cutlets and karage as the main dish, as well as the rest of the pork miso soup, since Val and Sui both loved the fried stuff like karage and cutlets. They ate it with gusto. It looked like Dora-chan also loved the food, and he filled his cheeks full of karage. After finishing dinner, when I was about to raise the box house using earth magic, for some reason I couldn't use magic. Huh? What? I can't make a house. Of course you would not be able to use earth magic in a dungeon, much less something like making a house. Huh? Why? I told you before that dungeons are living things, no? So in other words, this earth is not earth, but a part of the dungeon's body. In a dungeon, the most you can do with earth magic is make pebbles and use spells like stone bullets, so those who use earth magic are considered unfit for dungeon diving. What? No one ever told me that! Actually, it's just unfair that I can't use earth magic in it, because you would be able to, because normally a dungeon is just that, a dungeon, like cave diving. It's not a living thing. But in this world, apparently, dungeons are living things, which makes no sense to me! The next morning, we quickly started moving through the floor after breakfast. We navigated through the forest, aiming for the floor's boss. The monsters we encountered along the way were dealt with in the order of Fel, Dora-chan, and Sui, just like yesterday. We saw murder grizzlies and giant killer mesquite mantises just like before. This time, a swarm of giant killer mantises numbering 30 appeared, as well as a giant centipede just like we saw in the forest of Ishtam. This one was bigger than the one we saw back then. Other than that, there was also a troop of almost 50 wild apes, a B-ranked monkey monster. There were other beast-type, bird, and bug-type monsters that seemed like they'd be at home in a forest that like the one we saw yesterday. But, of course, they were all destroyed by my children. Your children. Since it was the 26th floor, they were all high-ranking strong monsters in the A and B ranks, but they were all swept aside with no problems. And once again, we went through the forest while I picked up the enormous amounts of drops. How do you still have so much room in this? How much room do you have left in your item box, dude? There were so many drops that I could no longer keep track of how much I had of what. Not every monster dropped something, but the drop rate for high-ranking monsters really was high. Thinking about the number of monsters everyone had defeated up until this point, it might be considered a matter of course that I accrued a frankly absurd amount of drop items by now. Still, everyone was so strong and kept killing everything, so the number of items just kept increasing. But item box still probably wouldn't get full. Jesus Christ, dude, you have a gigantic item box. But then again, I guess he does, considering all the corpses he had put in there before. But it might be quite the problem when we went back up, since I'd have to sort all the drop items. When I was thinking about that, Fel stopped walking. There is a killer hornet nest ahead. Killer hornets? Is that like one of those giant hornets? Killer hornets, I hate those things. There's so many of them and they all fly around like I do. Dora-chan complained hatefully. They must be just that bad for Dora-chan to complain like that. Truly, they are not strong, but with that many of them and them flying around like that, annoying does not even cover half of it. Fel also made a hateful face. Ah, so it's like that. It's true that wasps come in swarms of 10 or even hundreds, or even hundreds, I guess. Wouldn't it be best to do this like normal? It might. It will probably be best to destroy the nest first, then take care of the killer hornets that are outside. So we should destroy all the hornets in the nest first, huh? Well, if we didn't, they'd just keep coming out and attacking us after all. Wait, where is that nest anyway? When I asked Fel, we moved until I was in a position to see it. What I saw was a nest the size of a whole wagon. The nest itself was belt attached to the roots of a large tree, and around it, wasps around 30 centimeters in length were buzzing around. Next is Sui's turn, but Sui's only attacks are acid bullet and water magic. It will be a bad match for trying to destroy the nest from far away, Fel said telepathically. It's true that acid bullet doesn't seem like it would destroy the nest immediately, and using water magic or water cutter would... No, Sui would do it alone. Sui would do it. Sui was throwing a fit. Hey, Sui, you need to stop being so selfish, you know. Fel's right here. You're just a bad match for it. Be patient, said Dora-chan, backing Fel up. It's true that what Fel and Dora-chan are saying is correct, but I really want to do something for Sui. Ugh, but it's Sui's turn. Oh, dear. Sui's crying. Don't cry, Sui. Acid bullets and water magic. Water. No, Sui can do it by itself easily. You need to stop coddling Sui like that already. I can't help it, okay? Sui's so cute. Wait, no, it's not like that's a problem. I won't deny that, but it'll be fine if we can use my strategy. I explained exactly what I thought up to the three of them and close the nest in a large water ball and then just leave it until all the hornets inside die. In other words, drown them. You know, you think up some pretty cruel things, said Dora-chan in reaction to hearing my strategy. I don't want to be told that by you, Mr. Covers himself in magic to ram straight through monsters. You got a point, dude. Drowning them in water is not a bad idea. Sui, try it. Got it, Uncle Fel. Sui, I'm the one that thought of it, you know. Sui made a ball of water large enough to fill the nest inside of it and moved it so it was engulfing the nest. Several killer hornets left the attacked nest and tried to leave the water, but they were unable to fly in the water and so just kind of wiggled around a bit. Then Sui finished them off with an acid bullet. With this, the nest should be destroyed with a little time. All that's left are the ones outside of the nest. Hey, everyone here's hungry, right? Indeed. I'm hungry too. Sui's tummy's also empty. Not so. I figured it should be about time for food. Hey, Sui, you'll probably destroy the nest if you just leave it like that for a while. So can you let Dora-chan and Uncle Fel help you beat the ones outside? That way we can eat sooner. Yeah, okay. Sui wants to eat too, so it's fine. And so Fel, Dora-chan, I'm counting on you guys. The killer hornets must have sensed that there was something wrong with the nest, but Fel and Dora-chan killed all of them as they came back, one after the other, and I picked up the dropped items. All of the killer bees hornets dropped were poison needles, though. Once all the flying killer bees hornets were killed, it's time for food. We ended up having Sui leave the water ball where it was just to make sure the nest was extra dead. We ate the wyvern's meat beef bowls that I had prepared earlier. Beef bowls really aren't complete without this. Since there were no other adventurers on the 26th floor other than us, I decided to use my skill to buy some warm, soft-boiled eggs. I served Fel and the others portions without the eggs first, and then with the eggs upon extra servings. I wanted to eat it both ways as well as I had a smaller portion by itself, and then with an egg. Man, the wyvern beef bowls are good. I even got Dora-chan a second helping, and both Fel and Sui went through multiple servings again. After eating so much food, we took a break. Looks like Sui beat it. When I looked over at the killer hornet nest in response to Sui's voice, it had disappeared. I had Sui get rid of the water ball and checked on the dropped items. It's all poison needles, huh? They're bugs after all, I guess. There's not much to be had material-wise. This is... I picked up something white that was in a bottle. When I appraised it, Killer Hornet's Royal Jelly. Extremely nutritious. Royal Jelly, huh? Isn't that stuff that's in health foods? It says it's extremely nutritious, but with just that much explanation... Oh, you have found something great there. That stuff will make you energetic and healthy just by licking some of it. Looks like Fel knows of it. If it makes you healthy and energetic just by licking it, I should probably keep it just like this, huh? Yeah, best to keep it. Don't be selling that. Storing the poison needles and royal jelly in my item box, we once again set off through the forest. After that, we kept moving towards where Fel said the floor's boss was while beating beast, bird, and bug-type monsters and collecting their drops. Once it went dark, we decided to stop for the night. The next day, we once again moved through the forest while beating all manner of beast, bird, and bug-type monsters and collected their drops. In the middle, we discovered a treasure chest and opened it, but other than that, we proceeded uneventfully. By the way, there were 2 types of gems in the chest, sapphires and alexandrite. Nice. According to Fel, we were just about to run into the floor boss. Fel also said that it was fairly strong, judging by its presence. I wonder what kind of boss is waiting for us. Hang on, let me check. 34 minutes. Okay. Let's continue. Come on, go away. Finally, we were going to challenge the floor boss. If that's the case, for breakfast... Fel, we're fighting the boss after this, right? So I'm thinking of making food with stuff from my world. How about it? If we're going to fight something boss class, then it'd be better to buff ourselves with food from my world. You're planning to make us stronger by feeding us food from your world. That's right, the boss is pretty strong even from your perspective, right, Fel? If that's the case, I should use my skill to make you even stronger to ensure safety. Indeed, Dora and I have the War God's blessing, so even as we are now, there would not even be a 1,000,000 to 1 chance we would lose. But eating food from your world is a good idea. Oh yeah, they do have the God of Han's blessing, don't they? Both Phil and Dora-chan were strong already, so I'm not sure how much of it is that blessing. Wait, Phil said that it was a good idea, but that's just because he wants to eat the food, isn't it? I don't know what the boss will be though, and I need them to beat it no matter what, otherwise I'll die. So I don't mind at all that he's getting stronger. If that's the case, then what about the same steaks as last time? Yes, that will be good. Yep, knew he would go for the Wagyu steaks. I don't think steaks are a good idea first thing in the morning, but it shouldn't be a problem for them. I opened my online supermarket and bought the necessary enormous amount of domestic Wagyu beef steaks. Even though we would just be eating food from my world, I figured just steaks would be a bit boring, so I bought some other foods as well while leaving the focus of the meal on everyone's favorite thing, meat. First thing I bought was Korean barbecued pork with both salty lemon flavoring and salted onion flavoring. Nowadays, there were quite a few flavors of pre-seasoned meat, and they were all very convenient, and since one had to do was grill them. I also bought some minced meat wieners, something called black pepper roasted duck, lots of grilled chicken thighs and livers, and some tarry and salt, as well as sandwiches for my own personal breakfast. First, remove the pre-cooked chicken from their skewers and put them on a plate. Next, cut the black pepper roasted duck to serving size and serve on a plate. I fried a little bit of it, and it was delicious with a good combo of the duck's deep flavor and the kick of the black pepper. Food! I served the grilled chicken and roast duck to my 3 familiars. You guys will be fighting the floor boss after this, so eat up and get strong. While everyone was eating, I used the magic stove to cook the Wagyu steaks, pork, and minced meat sausages. More! Everyone ate their fill right from the start of the day. I served them all domestic Wagyu steaks, grilled pork, and minced meat sausages when they asked for more. I started them off with simple steaks seasoned with salt and pepper. The pork was already seasoned. When I tried them, they were tasty and refreshing. The minced meat sausages were only seasoned with salt and pepper, but they were bursting with flavorful juiciness, and the casing was nice and crisp. Dora-chan was full after a little bit, but Fel and Sil were insatiable as always. While Fel and Sui were eating, I finished my simple breakfast of sandwiches and coffee. Ooh, just as I remember, the food from the other world is delicious. So this is from the other world. It's pretty great. It was good. That's nice to hear, but I have something else to be more concerned about. Just how high are their stats now? I appraised everyone. Name, Fel. Age, 1014. Race, Fenrir. Level, 911. HP, 9,890 plus 5,002. Oh, not again! MP, 9,534 plus 4,675. Attack, 9,118 plus 4,483. Defense, 9,814 plus 4,907. Agility, 9,732 plus 4,856. Skills, wind magic, fire magic, water magic, earth magic, ice magic, lightning magic, holy magic, barrier magic, rending claws, body reinforcement, physical attack resistance, magic attack resistance, MP efficiency, appraisal, battle boost. Blessings, blessing of the goddess of the wind, Ninmir, blessing of the god of war, Vahan. Dang, good lord. Name, Dora-chan. Age, 116. Race, Pixie Dragon. Level, 129. HP, 915. Plus 459. 8 MP, 2,935. Plus 1,448. Attack, 2,703. Plus 1,342. Defense, 886 plus 445. Agility, 3,345 plus 1,673. Damn, he really is a speedy little bugger. Skills, fire magic, water magic, wind magic, earth magic, ice magic, lightning magic, healing magic, bombardment, battle boost. Blessings, blessing of the god of war, Vahan. Okay, here we go. Name, Sui. Age, 2 months. Race, Big Slime. Level, 21. HP, 1,079 plus 538. MP, 1,063 plus 529. Attack, 1,558 plus 533. Defense, 1,061 plus 525. Agility, 1,080 plus 540. Skills, acid bullet, potion creation, cloning, water magic, smithing. Blessings, blessing of the goddess of water, Rusaka. Blessing of the god of blacksmithing, Hephaestus. All 3 of them have leveled up. Well, they've been killing a lot of monsters while we've been in this dungeon, so it's not really surprising, I guess. But still, how fast their stats grow, I might have gone too far, maybe. Anyway, we're going to be fighting the floor boss now, so it's good, right? Right? Any rate, let's just go. We proceeded just like yesterday with them defeating all the monsters we encountered and then with me picking up dropped items. After a while, Fel stopped. It is the floor boss. When I followed Fel's gaze, there was a huge coiled cobra. It flicked out its thin and long tongue, trying to intimidate us with a hiss. What the heck? I tried appraising it. Vasuki, an S-rank monster. S-ranked? Actually, wait, just how many tons of meters is that thing? That's not a monster, it's a kaiju! Kaiju? That's huge. Not to mention it's spewing out some kind of mist from its mouth. When I tried appraising the mist, I got the result Vasuki's poison mist. Or Vasuki's poison mist. Poison mist? Well, we all were able to nullify a normal distance, but this thing is way too brutal. A Vasuki, huh? How unusual. Even I have only fought one around 3 times in my life. It seemed that our Fel had fought it before. You fought one of these things already? It's huge and even spits out poison mist. These things are easy pickings as long as you watch out for their bite and their constricting attacks. I see. Well, I can go and finish it off by myself, but Dora and Sui will probably complain. Dora, Sui, let us go. If that's the boss, it's worth being my enemy. Awesome, let's go. Sui will try hard too. After looking at the Vasuki, not only was no one else cowed by it, but they were blazing with motivation. Personally, I probably wouldn't be able to handle that thing. Well, no dip, dude. I'll be waiting in behind a tree, so yeah, go get him, everyone. My 3 familiars jumped in front of the Vasuki. When it spotted them, it started spreading its poison mist. However, since everyone had blessings and thus invalidated status effects, they all ignored that and started attacking over and over. And Fel's lightning magic burst against it, and Dora-chan, wrapped in fire magic, was opening large holes in the Vasuki's coiled body. Ooh. Sui's acid bullet attacks hit the Vasuki and steadily dissolved it. Oh, I didn't want that image in my head. Oh! The Vasuki, now ragged and dead, fell flat in front of everyone. The battle didn't even last a minute. Actually, it was so one-sided I wasn't even sure it would be called a fight. All the Vasuki did was spread around some poison mist. After that, it wasn't allowed to do anything as it was beaten to death. Sorry, Vasuki! Yeah, we did it! Dora-chan was performing aerial maneuvers in celebration. We did it! We defeated the big snake! Sui was also excitedly hopping around. Of course we would. Fel's face was dripping with smug happiness. I left the shadow of the tree and went towards my familiars. Looking at the burned and melted corpse of the Vasuki that was also littered with holes, I felt so sorry for it, even though it was a monster, that it almost brought tears to my eyes. Sorry, Vasuki. There was absolutely no need to feed them food from my world after all. The dead Vasuki disappeared. Truly, I'm sorry. Please rest easy, Namasan. Well, I'll still help myself to your drops, though. Let's see. Oh! What a glossy blue snakeskin! And a huge magic stone, too, and fangs. Just what I'd expect out of not only a floor boss, but also an S-rank monster. I put the Vasuki's drops into my item box. Hey, we beat the boss, so we can go down to the 27th floor, right? I don't see the stairs anywhere, though. How are we supposed to do that? In these types of floors, leaving these words in the air, Fel inspected a rock that was near where the Vasuki was. Oh, here it is. Lured by Fel's statement, I approached the rock. If you let your magic flow into the set round pattern here on the rock, they will be able to proceed forward. The round pattern Fel was referring to was a magic circle. What? By that, does that Fel mean that this thing will teleport us somewhere? However, all those who wish to go down will not be able to unless they are in physical contact, so be careful about that. I see. Dora-chan, Sui, we're going down, so come over. When I explained to Dora-chan and Sui that we had to be touching to go down, well, Dora-chan clung on to the back of my head. This is good, right? Dora-chan. Oh, fine. I was on top of Fel and Sui in my arms. Okay then, Fel, do it. Fel placed his right front paw on the magic circle and let his magic flow. When that happened for a moment, I felt a floating sensation like I was in an elevator. So this is the 27th floor, is it? It's the same as the 26th, though. Indeed, it seems that this is the 27th floor. Now then, we are going to use the same methods to track down the floor boss. Let us be off. After that, we started to make progress to the forest, but I wasn't sure how I should react to it. Thanks to the ongoing effects of the food I served them, everyone was just bustling through the place. They were absolutely trampling over everything. I was even wanting to apologize to the monsters for what was happening. And just like that, I obtained another huge batch of drop items. Not only that, but since everyone was so energetic, we went so fast that according to Fel, we could see the floor boss before evening tomorrow. Yeah, apparently we're seeing the floor boss already tomorrow. This time I'm not going to let them eat purely stuff from my world. I've learned restraint. Today as well, we were exploring the 27th floor. For breakfast, we had the cabbage rolls I had prepared. However, both Fel and Sui weren't satisfied with the cabbage rolls I had in stock, So unfortunately, I had to hurriedly whip up some miso-grilled orc general bowls, and with that, the food I had prepared had finally run out. I only had some rice left. Damn, dude! Leaving Dora-chan aside, the stock held up pretty well against the huge eaters Fel and Sui, and so I would be cooking again for lunch. After finishing the meal and taking a break, we once again started through the forest. According to Fel, we'd be seeing the floor boss before the evening, though. The 26th floor had the S-rank Fasuki, so there shouldn't be anything weaker than that. I wonder what kind of monster will come out this time. Well, either way, I'm not going to be fighting anyway, as if I would stand a chance against an S-ranked monster. Sure, I have the perfect defensive skill and the ability to nullify status effects. Why don't you try getting attacked by that kaiju-like monster? I'd die just from the fear it would cause in me. I sense one. Well, then I'll be off. It looks like there's a monster. Fel took no time at all to beat down a troop of wild apes. After that, Fel, Dora, Chen, and Sui all took turns defeating the monsters we encountered. And I did my best retrieving their dropped items. Yeah. While we were proceeding further into the forest, everyone's gut alarms rang, and it was time for a meal. I don't have any more prepared stuff left, so I'll start cooking now. Just wait a bit. Something that I can make in a flash. Yeah, let's make a stamina stir-fry bowl. Still, it was great the food I prepared lasted so long. Since we were already in the 27th floor, there was no other adventurers around, and that fact was a huge saving grace. Now that I can afford to freely use my skill, let's just do that. I bought green garlic, tare to flavor the grilled meat, roasted garlic flavor, and white sesame seeds. If you're using it in a stamina meal, then I recommend making sure the tare for the meat is also garlic flavored. Then, I brought out the magic stove from my item box. I wavered on whether to use Orc General or Bloody Hornbull for the meat, but I went with Bloody Hornbull in the end. Both beef and pork were with this dish. First slice the... Damn it! Ah! Do I need to stop? No, I don't need to stop yet. Not yet. Almost done. First, slice the Bloody Hornbull meat thinly into pieces about the size of a mouthful. Then cut with the tare and massage the flavor into the meat. Cut the green garlic into lengths around 4 centimeters long. Oil up a heated frying pan and quickly cook the Bloody Hornbull meat. Once the color of the meat changes, add in the green garlic and keep cooking. When the green garlic has wilted a little, mix in some of the tare sauce. While stirring the sauce in, give the meat and garlic in the pan and the quick saute to finish it off. For Fel, Sui, and Dora-chan, I molded the rice in a deep dish before topping it with lots of the stamina stir-fry I made. After spreading the white sesame seeds on top, the dish was complete. It's done. When I placed the dishes in front of them, they all greedily dug in. This tare mixed in with the meat is delicious. I feel like I could eat an unlimited amount of this. Fel, I know you said that, but try to keep yourself in check, okay? The salty sweet taste is irresistible. You got it, Dora-chan. That tare is delicious, isn't it? This tare goes super great with the meat. Sui's gonna eat a lot. I see. So Sui understands the taste too, huh? More! It was the usual for Fel and Sui, but even Dora-chan wanted another serving. Wait, huh? Was the garlic a bad idea? Did I just increase their appetite? Well, I was wondering that I served everyone a second helping. I should also start on my share while everyone's eating. The salty sweetness of the garlic-flavored tare pairs so great with the rice. The fragrance of the white sesame seeds I spread around on top was also serving as a good accent to the dish. Stamina stir-fry bowls really are just awesome for when you want to eat something hefty. Yeah, this is great. I had thought that I might have served myself a little too much, but it was gone before I knew it. Just when I was taking a breath after gulping down some of the bottled tea I had stored in my item box, I heard Fel and Sui's voices. More! The garlic flavor must have boosted their appetite since there was a whole chain of mores after that. I had thought that the rice I made would last for another meal after this, but it was completely finished off. After fitting in a small after-meal break, we once again set off through the forest. My 3 familiars safely disposed of any monsters and I picked up their drops. Then finally, that must be this floor's boss, Fel informed me, and I hid behind a tree before taking a peek. What the heck is that? It was probably a little larger than a lion. The body was also lion-like, but the tail was that of a scorpion's and was raised up like one as well. It had a strange head. It was like an old human man's head, and lastly I could make out its mouth split almost from ear to ear, forming a creepy grin. What the fuck? Wait! There's things like the chimeras. I think there's chimeras, manticores. There's a sphinx that has the head of a woman though. What else? I don't remember. But those are the main 3 that I can think of that are made of multiple body parts. Just looking at that repulsive grinning face gave me goosebumps. When I tried appraising that bizarre monster, Manticore. Oh, it was a Manticore! An S-ranked monster. A Manticore? I'm sure I've heard of that before. If I remember correctly, it's a legendary beast that eats people. Well, either way, that thing is no good. Its face is so gross. Too gross. I can tell that thing will be haunting my dreams already. It's a manticore. Fella, you gonna be okay? Of course I will. I have fought a manticore before. Those things are pretty sly, though. They will do things like pretend like they are weakened only to stab you with their tail to finish you off when you get close. So great care is needed to these situations. Saying so, Fel turned around to face Dora-chan and Sui. Dora, Sui, the manticore is both fast and sly. We will land a preemptive strike and then try to finish it off quickly. So, just as usual then, let's do it. Hey, what does sly mean? It was too complicated for Sui, huh? Sly means that it's really sneaky and cheats. See that monster? It will do things like pretend it's weak, only to attack you when you get close, and let your guard down. So it's a bad monster. Sui will try hard to beat it. Filled with fighting spirit, all three of my familiars turned to face the manticore. Blurp, blurp, blurp. Sui unleashes acid bullets, but the manticore agilely dodged them. Of course. A large hole was opened in the manticore's flank. It looked like Dora-chan charged right through it. Damn! Oh, manticore, know that you aren't only facing one foe. The manticore let out a cry to the heavens. Fel released a rending call from its right front leg. The manticore was cut into small pieces and died. I probably shouldn't be the one saying this, but you guys just have no sense of mercy, do you? No, they do not. They do not. After the manticore disappeared, I went to pick up its drops. It dropped a large magic stone, its pelt, and a poison needle. Now then, let's go down. Yes, let's. Quickly finding the teleportation circle, we proceeded to the 28th floor. What? This is the 28th floor? The 28th floor was a swampland. We were standing on a wooden pathway that was placed over the swampland. The pathway itself was around 1.5 meters wide and stretched off endlessly into the distance. So we should follow this path, right? Indeed. However, we will also be more easily attacked by monsters, which means as long as monsters are as strong as me are not around, this is a trial that we can easily pass. Really, what is up with this dungeon? Is every dungeon this mean-spirited in its construction? When I asked Fel, apparently all dungeons were just about the same in its aspect. As one would expect, though, a swampland floor like this is rare. Ah, I thought so. There's no way you'd be able to pass through this place without this path unless you could fly like Dora-chan or had a boat. But it's also like you're asking to be attacked. Just like Fel said, we'd be sitting ducks for monsters. Still, this place really is full of water. Fel said, his face dripping with voice dripping with dread. Ah, right, Fel hates water. It would be best to put this place behind us as fast as possible. I'll be running through the night this time. Apparently, Fel wanted to get out of here badly enough that he was planning to run through the night. I can still kind of see since it's only the evening, but are you sure you're okay moving it once it's dark? As it is now, it's still possible to see since it hasn't gone completely dark yet, but once it does, he won't even be able to see the path. Won't it be dangerous? There's no need to worry. I can see in the dark. Moving at night is but a simple task. I can see in the dark, too. It seemed like both Fel and Dora-chan were fine in the dark, but wouldn't it be tiring to move all night? I am not as soft as to be crippled by one all-nighter. He's right. I've gone as long as 3 days straight just flying. Apparently they were fine in terms of stamina, too. It was probably going to be impossible for Sui to stay up all night, so I would probably have to have him sit in my bag. And if that was the case, wouldn't I be the biggest problem? At the very least, I would have to make sure I wasn't shaken off by Fel during the night. If I were to fall off here, that would mean falling somewhere into a swamp. Before we go, first is food. That's right, I'm hungry. Sui is also hungry. They say that, but there's no way I can just take my stove out here. With its weight, it would probably fall through the floor. Hurry up, I want to eat quickly and start moving. It seemed like Fel just wanted to get out of here as fast as possible. What should I do? I know I thought I would never feed them pure food from my world again, but maybe I should just give them some side dishes from my online supermarket this time. Yeah, because you won't be able to get the stove out until you get out of this fucking swamp area! Since it would be better for them to be energetic if they're going to be running through the night anyway, and it'd also be safer since they'll be fighting monsters along the way. Okay, then let's just get some side dishes for now. It should also be fine as long as I don't feed them Wagyu steak or something like that. I opened up my online supermarket and started scooping up any dish that caught my eye. Yakitori, karaage, beef croquettes, shumai dumplings, spring rolls, sweet and sour pork, roast pork cutlet, and kalbi beef bowls. I selected the food, focusing on meat as the center of the meal. When I served them to my familiars in the dishes, everyone greedily started eating. As for myself, I was having some fresh chirashi sushi and a salad since all I had been having lately was meat. Once Fel and Sui were satisfied after several more helpings, mealtime was over. Well then, let us go. Master, Sui is sleepy. Ah, I thought so. Sui does get sleepy after every meal. Sui would always fall asleep really fast after having food. Sui, get in the bag and go to sleep. Got it. Leaving those words behind, Sui slipped into my bag. You, get on my back. Make sure you hold on tight. That's going to be a little difficult if he ends up falling asleep. Here's hoping he can stay up all night. I hope so. Or else he's in trouble. Got it. I got on top of Fell's back and made sure to get a good grip. Alright, do you need light? While we were eating, the sun had set, and now the surroundings were completely black. Right now, our only source of light was my flashlight. However, I could get more sources to my skill if that was needed. If I remember correctly, I should be able to buy a lantern-type LED light. Then there should also be other varieties of flashlight available, as well if memory serves. No, light is unnecessary. If we make it brighter, it would be like we were calling the monsters to us. Ah, that's true, isn't it? I'll be erecting a barrier around us and another one around Dora-chan. Sure, thanks for that. If that's the case, I'll scout on ahead and get rid of anything that's in your way. Please. Yeah, you can count on me. Just like that, we stepped foot into the dark nighttime swamp area. We who were walking down the built wooden pathway were quickly accosted with monsters. It was a pair of monsters, one a frog around 30 centimeters large and the other a flat fish that looked like a monkfish. They jumped out of the swamp at us, but thanks to Fell's barrier, they were repelled. The frog was called a swamp frog, and the fish was called a swamp fish. They were both weaklings, so we left them alone. We couldn't be bothered to defeat every single one of them. Yeah, that's probably not going to be a good idea. Considering if you tried that, you'd be doing this all night, and then you would get tired, and, well, that's not good. It seemed the Dora-chan, also, who went on ahead of us, was fighting, because I could hear sounds every once in a while. They probably dropped items, but the situation being what it was, I'd already given up on retrieving any of them. Well, I've already gotten more than enough on the floors before this anyway, yeah. I was looking forward to the floor boss's drop, though. I wonder what it's going to be, considering, we don't know what it is. Hopefully it's something good and you don't end up losing the drops to the swamp. Let's see. During our journey, Dora-chan, who was ahead of us, took care of all the attacking monsters. There were also places where the pathway cut out or where it was made out of rotting wood that seemed like it would break, but Fell dodged all of that. We blitzed through the forest at an incredible speed in the middle of the night. By the time the sun was rising again, we were already close to the floor boss, according to Fell. How long have I been reading for? Okay, I think I'm going to end this one up here. Next one will be the last one for the volume, guys. I'll see you on the next video.